Men flocked to that place from the different parts of the country, including the countryside, for the purpose of listening to an exposition of Srimad Bhagavata. They say the crippled, blind, aged and dull-witted to arrive for the attention of their sin. There was a large concourse which caused wonder even to the gods. The moment Gokarna ascended the seat meant for the exponent and started expounding the story of Srimad Bhagavata, the aforesaid spirit to arrive. Looking about for a seat, he saw there a bamboo with 7 joints, standing erect, entering the whole of the base of the bamboo. He actually settled down there for hearing the exposition, unable to remain fixed at one place in the air, gaseous as he was. He entered the bamboo. Taking a Brahmana, who is a votary of Lord Vishnu, to be the chief listener, the said Gokarna, led the son of a cow, began to expound Srimad Bhagavata in an audible tone from Book 1 itself. At the close of the day, when the exposition was adjourned for that day, they say a marvel took place. One of the 7 joints of the bamboo, the last one cracked while the good men present there looked on. On the second day, at sunset, likewise the second joint from below burst open, and on the third at dusk, the third one similarly burned open. Having burst open in this way the 7 joints of the bamboo in 7 days, the spirit shed the form of a spectre through the hearing of all the 12 skandhas of Srimad Bhagavata. He appeared in a divine form, dark brown like a cloud, clad in yellow silk, adorned with strings of tulsi beads, wearing a diadem on his head, and decked with a pair of alligator-shaped earrings. He presently greeted his brother Gokarna and addressed him as follows: "Out of kindness, O brother, I have been rid by you of the deluded form of a spectre. Blessed is the exposition of Srimad Bhagavata, which drives away once for all the agony a spectre is here too. And praiseworthy is the 7 days reading of Srimad Bhagavata, which best owes on the hearers as it reward and abode in the realm of Sri Krishna. When a 7 days reading of Srimad Bhagavata is at hand, all the sins shudder to think that the contemplated exposition will bring about their dissolution apace. Even as a fire consumes all kinds of pieces of wood, whether moist or dry, small or big, so does a 7 days hearing of Srimad Bhagavata eradicate all kinds of sin, whether recent or of long standing, minor or major, and perpetuated in thought, word or deed. It has actually been declared by the wise is an assembly of the gods that the birth in this land of Bharatvarsha of men who fail to hear the story of Srimad Bhagavata is fruitless. If one does not get to hear an exposition of Srimad Bhagavata, the scripture associated with foundness, nourished well and made stronger. The body is supported on a column of bones, held together by a network of nerves and tendons, mortared with flesh and blood and covered all over with skin. Nay, it is full of bad smell, being a receptacle of urine and feces. It is ever afflicted with old age. Sorrow and metamorphosis is the home of diseases. Frail, difficult to satisfy, hard to maintain, corrupt, faulty and momentary. It has been characterized as having its finality in what goes by the name of worms, vices, if it is devoured by vultures and crows, dogs and jackals, and ashes, if it is cremated. Why then should one not perform with this unstable body action leading to immortality, what performance can possibly be ascribed to an organism nourished with the essence of a foodstuff such as rice, which, if it is addressed in the morning, gets rotten by the same evening? Through the hearing of a 7 days exposition of Srimad Bhagavata, Sri Hari is brought within one's reach. Hence the aforesaid indeed is the only means of driving away all kinds of sins, like bubbles appearing in water or mosquitoes among living beings. Those who remain deprived of hearing an exposition of Srimad Bhagavata are born only to die. With the joints of a dry bamboo, a purely material substance could be broken open through the hearing of such an exposition. What wonder then if the knot of ignorance in the mind gets similarly stabbed thereby? The aforesaid knot in the heart is broken, doubts of every kind get resolved, and the residue of past karma gets eliminated when a 7 days exposition of Srimad Bhagavata is heard. When the sacred water in the shape of such exposition, which is highly efficacious in the washing of the stain occasioned by the mud sins of worldly life, get reserved up in the mind, mukti, final beatitude, is declared by the wise and ensured. Even while the Spirit was speaking in the strain, they say, there arrived on the very occasion on an aerial car mended by denizens of Vaikuntha and invested with the dazzling halo. The spirit of Dhundukari, the son of Dhundhuli, boarded the aerial car while everyone looked on, beholding the attendants of Lord Vishnu in the aerial car. Gokarna spoke to them as follows. Gokarna submitted, on this very spot there are many sinless souls that have listened to my discourse. How is it that aerial cars have not been synchronously brought by you for them? It appears that all those assembled here have listened in an equal measure. How then has disparity come about in the matter of reward? Kindly explain this, O beloved servants of Sri Hari. The servants of Sri Hari replied, the disparity in the matter of reward here has come about on account of diversity in hearing the exposition. Though it has been heard by all, it has not been reflected upon in an equal degree. Therefore, has this disparity resulted in the matter of reward in spite of their common devotion. In the shape of hearing the Lord's stories, O best of the honor and others, the exposition was heard by the spirit of Dhundukari, while abstaining from food and drink for 7 days and night together. Cogitations, etc., was also wholly done by him with a composed mind. Infructuous is spiritual wisdom which is not firmly rooted. Scriptures is married through listlessness. Counsel which is received with a doubting mind is lost, and fruitless is the muttering of a sacred text done with a restless mind. Damned is a tract of land destitute of devotees. Food offered for the benefit of a departed ancestor or relative to an unworthy recipient is lost. A gift made to one not versed in the Veda goes in vain, and a race which is devoid of good conduct is ruined. Faith in the words of presbyter, the thought of one's wretchedness, the subjection of one's mental aberration, and unfaltering devotion to the hearing of Srimad Bhagavata. If this and other such virtues are accomplished, then alone is the hearing of Srimad Bhagavata efficacious. At the end of a second hearing of this scripture, all will surely attain and abode in Vaikuntha. Lord Sri Krishna, the protector of cows, will personally take you, O Gokarna, to Goloka his divine realm. Saying so, they all ascended to Vaikuntha, the divine realm of Lord Vishnu, chanting in a chorus the names and praise of Sri Hari. In the month of Shravana, roughly corresponding to July of the English calendar, Gokarna gave an exposition of Srimad Bhagavata according to the same procedure in the course of a week once more, and they all heard it again. Now hear, O Narada, what happened at the end of the exposition. Sri Hari appeared, they say, along with his devotees in a number of aerial cars. Shouts of trump and greetings issued from many lips on that occasion. Out of delight, Sri Hari himself blew his conch, Panchajanya, on that spot, and closely embracing Gokarna, Sri Hari gave him a form similar to his own. Sri Hari likewise instantly transformed other hearer personages, dark brown of hue, clad in yellow silk, decked with a diadem and a pair of alligator-shaped earrings. All living beings that were present in the village, including dogs and men belonging to the Pariha class, they too were given a seat in the aerial cars by the grace of Gokarna. On that occasion, they were all transferred to the realm of Sri Hari, the destination of yogis, delighted to hear the exposition of Srimad Bhagavata. The aforesaid Sri Krishna, the divine cowherd who is so fond of his devotees, ascended with Gokarna to his divine realm, Saketa, in the former days. So were they transplanted to Goloka, which is so difficult even for the yogis to attain by only hearing an exposition of Srimad Bhagavata. They all actually reached the divine realm which is ever beyond the reach of the sun, the moon and the Siddhas, a class of semi-divine beings naturally endowed with mystic power. What shall we tell you on this occasion about the glorious reward that are earned by hearing the stories forming part of Srimad Bhagavata according to the procedure of a 7 days sacrificial session? In short, those by whom even a single letter of the exposition of Srimad Bhagavata given by Gokarna was drunk with their ears no more return to a mother's womb. People undoubtedly attain by hearing a 7 days exposition of Srimad Bhagavata that destiny which people cannot attain by living on the air, water or dry leaves and imaging the body. Through severe austerities practiced for the long periods of time and yogic practice staying in Chitrakuta, the great sage Sandilya to reads out the sacred story while immersed in the bliss of oneness with Brahma, the absolute heard, even once the most sacred story bids fair to burn one's whole mass of sins. If read on the occasion of a Shraddha, it brings satiation to the means, and if read carefully every day, it leads to cessations of rebirth. Thus ends the 5th discourse entitled A Description of Gokarna's Liberation, forming part of the glory of Srimad Bhagavata in the Uttarkhanda of the glorious Padma Purana. Jai Shri Krishna. Ath Sashtho Adhyayah, Discourse 6. Jai Shri Krishna. The procedure of hearing Srimad Bhagavata in a week detailed. The Kumaras begin again. Next, we shall discourse to you in the detail on the procedure of fully hearing Srimad Bhagavata in a week. The procedure has been declared as ordinarily observable with the help of associates and earthly possessions. To begin with, one should specially call on a astrologer with due respect and inquire of him a propitious day and time for commencing a 7 days sacrificial session for an exposition of Srimad Bhagavata. He should further get together and set apart as much wealth as is generally spent over a girl wedding. The months of Bhadrapada, Ashwana and Kartika, Margashirsha, Ashada and Shravana, corresponding to August, September and October, November, June and July. These are harbingers of moksha for those commencing an exposition of Srimad Bhagavata during any of these months. Even in these months, O Narada, hours which are worth eschewing must be avoided under all circumstances. Nay, others too who are industrious should be enlisted as one's associates in this undertaking. Again, a message should be particularly sent to all places saying that an exposition of Srimad Bhagavata is being arranged and that people should make it a point to attend with their families. Some people stand remote from the stories of Sri Hari as well as from the chanting of Sri Vishnu names and praise. It should be so arranged that they as well as women and those belonging to the Shudra community and others such low-born people may be apprised of the fact. Letters should be addressed everywhere only to the votaries of Lord Vishnu who have renounced all worldly attachments and are keen on chanting the divine names and glories. The wording of the letter has been suggested as follows: for 7 consecutive days an exceedingly rare congregation of pious men is expected to meet, and there will be an exposition of Srimad Bhagavata full of unprecedented charm. You too are requested to come soon in order to quaff the nectar of Srimad Bhagavata. Possessed as you are of an initiate longing for such nectar, love beings foremost in your mind. Even if perchance you have no time to spare, nonetheless at all events you must come at least for a day only. For even an instant on the occasion is most difficult to get. Invitation should be politely extended to them in these words, and one should keep ready places of abode for all who come. The hearing of Srimad Bhagavata is commended at a place of pilgrimage or in a woodland or even at one's own residence. That site alone should be selected for the exposition where an extensive ground is available, removing the household effects. If it is to be arranged in one's own house, one should keep them in a corner of the house, and the ground should be cleaned and swept, plastered with cow dung and clay, and decorated with painting of minerals dissolved in water. 5 days in advance, one should get together with zeal covering to be separate on the ground for the visitor to sit on, and a tall yet temporary shed should be erected on the ground and decked with fresh stems of banana. The shed should be roofed with an awning and decorated all round with green leaves, flowers and fruits. Flags should be planted on all sides and adorned with decorations of various kinds. Nay, on a higher level within the shed, 7 spacious divisions should be made, one higher than the other, each representing one of the 7 spheres into which the universe stands divided. And Brahmanas as well as those who have shaken of worldly attachments should be seated there after due persuasion. First of all, seats should be arranged for them, one after another, and then one should get ready an excellent seat even for the exponent of Srimad Bhagavata. If the exponent is to sit facing the north, the chief listener should in that case sit actually facing the east, and if the exponent is to sit facing the east, the chief listener should then sit facing the north. or if such arrangement is not possible, the space intervening the worshipful exponent and the worshipper listener should be considered to be the east. Such is the ruling given about the hearers by those possessing authoritative knowledge concerning the times and place etc. of hearing an exposition of Srimad Bhagavata. A Brahmana who is a votary of Lord Vishnu and has shaken off all worldly attachments, who is capable of expounding the Vedas and other scriptures, is expert in giving illustrations to bring home a truth, is discerning and altogether free from cravings, should be selected as the exponents of Srimad Bhagavata. Those who are bewildered by their attraction towards diverse courses of conduct are found a woman and preach here says should be avoided as disqualified for an exposition of Srimad Bhagavata, the scripture associated with the names of Sri Sukha, even if they are learned by the side of the exponent, just by way of helping him should be installed another learned man of the same caliber, capable of resolving doubts and intent on enlightening the public. In order to undertake the sacred work of expounding Srimad Bhagavata, the prospective exponent should have his head and chin, etc. shaved on the eve of the day when the exposition is to commence. Easing his nature at daybreak, he should duly take a bath, finishing with zeal his sandhya, prayers and other devotions in a short form every day. He should particularly worship Lord Ganesha, the elephant-headed god, for warding off obstacles in the way of the exposition, having duly gratified the means through oblations of water. He should go through a course of expiatory rites for the sake of purification of his self, and should draw a mystical diagram used in invoking a deity and install on it Sri Hari in the form of an image or the salagrama stone. He should then, with the chanting of mantras, sacred texts successively offer to Sri Krishna through the image the 16th prescribed course of worship, including pradakshina, walking round the deity clockwise, and salutions, and at the end of the worship address the following prayers to him. Rescues, O storehouse of compassion, from the ocean of mundane existence my rest self, sunk in the ocean of metempsychosis, my body having been seized by the alligator in the shape of infatuation for action. Worship should be jealously offered next with due ceremony and love to the copy of Srimad Bhagavata as well by means of articles including incense and light. Nay, holding a coconut in the whole of his joint palms, he should then duly offer solution, and then with a cheerful mind alone the following prayer should be addressed to Srimad Bhagavata. For here is Sri Krishna himself manifest before us under the name of Srimad Bhagavata. I have sought you, O Lord, for being rescued from the ocean of mundane existence. This aspiration of mine may kindly be fulfilled by you in every way, without impediment, as a matter of fact, since I am your servant, O Krishna. Having addressed this piteous appeal to Sri Krishna in the form of Srimad Bhagavata, he should next worship the prospective exponent and fully adorning him with wearing apparel and jewels, should further duly extol him at the end of the worship as follows. O manifestation of Shuka, expert as you are in enlightening other and well versed in the entire range of sacred lore, eradicate my ignorance by revealing to me this story in the form of Srimad Bhagavata. Before him then a vow should be gladly taken by the chief listener for his own spiritual good, and it should be truly observed by him at all events to the best of his ability for a full week. 5 Brahmanas should be engaged as persist for averting interruption in the exposition. They should mutter prayers to Sri Hari by repeating the 12-syllabled mantra Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bowing to the Brahmanas and other votaries of Lord Vishnu, as well as to those engaged in chanting the names of praises to Sri Hari and duly worshipping them, he should himself occupy his seat only when permitted by them. He who, giving up the thought of the worldly riches and other possessions, house and children, focuses his mind on the exposition alone with a guileless heart, secures the highest reward. Starting the exposition from sunrise, the highly intelligent exponent should properly expound the story of Srimad Bhagavata in a moderate tone for 3 praharas and a half, 10 hours and a half. At midday, a pause should be made in the exposition for about an hour. During the interval, the votaries of Lord Vishnu should, as a matter of fact, take the chanting of the Lord's name and the glories in consonance with the them of exposition of that day, for controlling that urge for the evacuation of one's bowels and bladder. A light diet is a matter of fact conducive to happiness. One who seeks to hear an exposition of Srimad Bhagavata should accordingly take his meal only once a day and take only such food as fit to be offered as an oblation to the sacred fire. He should hear the exposition abstaining from food for full 1 week, provided he has the stamina to do it, or he can do so with ease living on ghee or milk alone, or he mainly lives on a fruits and vegetable etc., or even on a one species of cereals alone with vegetable etc. In order to be able to listen to the exposition, one should take such a vow as can be easily observed. I should certainly prefer taking a meal if it would enable one to listen to an exposition of Srimad Bhagavata. A fast, on the other hand, is not commended if it stands in the way of hearing the exposition. Now, hear, O Narada, the rules of conduct that should be followed by those who have taken a vow to hear an exposition of Srimad Bhagavata in the course of a week. Those who have not yet been duly initiated into the worship of Lord Vishnu or received from a qualified guru a mantra sacred to him are not eligible for hearing an exposition of Srimad Bhagavata. A man who has taken a vow to hear an exposition of Srimad Bhagavata, as aforesaid, should constantly during the period observe continence, sleep on the floor or on a plank bed, but in no case on a bedstead, and take his meal on leaves joined together or on a single leaf if it is big enough. At the end of exposition for the day, one who has taken the aforesaid vow should always avoid during the period pulses, honey, oil and heavy food, as well as such edibles as are whited by impure associations. Example, a fruit with blood, red peel or kernel, such as cherry or ripe tomato, or one with a fleshy kernel, such as the jackfruit, and cooked food which has been kept overnight. A man who has taken the aforesaid vow should eschew concupiscence, anger, arrogance, pride, jealousy and greed too, as well as hypocrisy, infatuation and hatred. Who has taken the aforesaid vow should abstain from revealing the Vedas. The votaries of Lord Vishnu and the Brahmanas, one's elder or preceptor, those who are vowed to the service of the cow, as well as the womankind, the king and exalted souls, He who has taken the aforesaid vow should not speak to a woman in menstruation, a member of the lowest classes, a beef eater, an apostate, a member of the twice-born classes, who has not been invested with the sacred thread, though grown to a mature age, a Brahmana hater, and those who are outside the pale of Vedic religion. Similarly, he who is vowed to the hearing of Srimad Bhagavata should observe truthfulness, external and internal, purity, compassion, silence, straightforwardness, modesty in his dealing, and likewise practice liberal-mindedness. A pure one suffering from consumptions, any other ailing man, a wretch, a man of sinful deeds, one who is issueless and a seeker of liberation, should hear the story of Srimad Bhagavata in 7 days. It should be heard with zeal by a woman who has prematurely ceased to menstruate, or who was born only one child and ceased to conceive further, nay, even by her who is barren, also by her whose children have died, as well as by the woman who miscarries. If it is heard with due ceremony by those enumerated in verses 51 and 52, the hearing bids fair to yield them a fruit which is absolutely free from decay. The superb and divine story of Srimad Bhagavata is capable of conferring on its hearers the fruits of tens of millions of sacrificial performance. Having thus duly observed the rules of conduct prescribed for this vow of hearing Srimad Bhagavata in a week, the chief listener should then perform the rite concluding the vow. By those seeking the special fruit of it, this rite should be performed just on the lines of the rites of concluding the fast of the Janmashtami day, the 8th of the dark half on the lunar month of Bhadrapada, the birth anniversary of Lord Krishna. In the case, however, of devotees claiming nothing as their own, it is not ordinarily imperative that the formality of concluding this vow should be gone through. They are hallowed by the very process of hearing disinterested votaries as they are of Lord Vishnu. When these 7 days sacrificial session consisting of an exposition of Srimad Bhagavata is over, worship should presently be offered by the listeners to the book of Srimad Bhagavata as well as to the expositioner with great devotion. Remnants of food, basil leaves, and wreathers of flowers offered to the deity should forthwith be distributed to the listeners, and the chanting of the Lord names and the glories, sweetened by the sounding of wooden tom-toms and the striking of cymbals, should then be resorted to. The chief listener should make the audience uttar with him shouts of triumph and words of greetings, and raise blast of contests, and money as well as food should be dealt out of Brahmanas and mendicants. If the chief listener is a man who are renounced the world, the Gita should be read the following day. If, however, he is householder, in that case oblation should be poured into the sacred fire by way of expiation for any sin, voluntarily or involuntarily, committed in course of the act of hearing, with the utterance of each verse of Book 10 of Srimad Bhagavata, rice boiled in milk with sugar, honey and ghee, and mixed with sesamum seeds and food grains, barley, etc., should be consigned to the fire, or as an alternative, the chief listener should perform the Havana with a concentrated mind, along with the muttering of the holy Gayatri. Srimad Bhagavata, the supreme Purana, being its essence the same as the Gayatri. In the event of his being incapable of performing the Havana a wise man should give away to Brahmanas, materials fit to be consigned to the sacred fire in order to achieve its fruit, in order to make amends for the various shortcomings that might have marred the performance, as well as for naturalizing the fault of deficiency and excess committed, he should read the Vishnu Sahasranama, the 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu catalogued in the Mahabharata, Padma Purana and other sacred books. Through that every performance bids fair to become fruitful, in as much as there is nothing more efficacious than that. He should then feed 12 Brahmanas with sweet and rice boiled in milk with sugar and give away gold and cow to Brahmanas for the completion of the sacred vow. Having got prepared a seat of gold, waving 3 tolls if his means allow it, he should install on it the book of Srimad Bhagavata, written in beautiful letters, duly worshipping the book by invoking in it the presence of the deity, in saluting it, and through other form of worship, including a gift of money, the wise listener should present it to be the exposition of the restrained mind when he was being worshipped by offering, wearing apparel, ornaments, sandal paste, etc. By doing so, he will be rid of the shackles of birth and death. On the procedure of hearing an exposition of Srimad Bhagavata, which purges one of all sins, being thus completed, the blessed and glorious Bhagavat Mahapurana yields the desired fruit and proves to be the means of securing religious merit, self-gratification, worldly possession and liberation. There is no doubt about it. The Kumaras went on in this way. Everything has been pointed out to you. What more do you wish to hear? Through the glorious Bhagavata alone, both worldly enjoyment and liberation are brought within one's palm. Sutta resumed, having spoken thus, the aforesaid exalted souls, Sanaka and his 3 brothers, expounded with due ceremony in the presence of all living beings who listened with a restrained mind for 7 days the second story of Srimad Bhagavata, which absolves one of all sins and bestows on the hearer both enjoyment and liberation. Then they extolled Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Person, at the end of Janana, Vairagya and Bhakti, felt highly invigorated and attained exuberant youth, which revived the mind of all living beings. On his ambition having been realized, Narada too felt much gratified. The hair stood on their end all over his body, and he was overwhelmed with supreme joy. Having thus heard the exposition of Srimad Bhagavata, Narada, the beloved of the Lord, spoke to them with joined palms as follows in a voice choked with emotion. Narada submitted, "Blessed am I in that I have been favored by you. Compassion being foremost in your heart, this day has been attained by the Lord Sri Hari, who takes away all sins. I account the hearing of Srimad Bhagavata as the best of all right course, O sage rich in ascese, for through the hearing of it is attained Sri Krishna, who dwells in Vaikuntha." Sutta continued, while Narada, the foremost of the votaries of Lord Vishnu, was speaking in the strain, there actually came wandering about at the moment Sri Shuka, a master of yoga. Presently there appeared on the sense of the end of exposition, slowly and fondly recting Srimad Bhagavata, Sri Shuka, the son of Vedavyasa, a veritable moon that occasion a rise in the ocean of spiritual wisdom, who is sated with self-realization and ever looks like a youth of 16 summers. Those present in the assembly rose at once with reverence to behold Sri Shuka, who was possessed of very great splendor, and offered him an exalted seat. Narada, the celestial sage, worshipped him with love, and Sri Shuka, when comfortably seated, spoke as follows. Please listen to his faultless speech. Sri Shuka said, "O you devotees, possessing a taste for divine joy, Srimad Bhagavata is the fruit, essence of the wish-yielding tree of Veda, dropped on earth from the mouth of the parrot-like sage Shuka, and is full of the nectar of supreme bliss. It is unmixed sweetness, devoid of rain, seeds or other superfluous matter. Go on drinking this divine nectar again and again, till your body consciousness sees in the glorious Bhagavata produced by Veda Vyasa. The great sage has been taught that supreme religion, the religion of God, worship, the Bhagavata Dharma as it is called, which is entirely free from all self-deception in the shape of desire, including the desire for moksha or liberation. Nay, in this has been expounded that absolute reality which can be known only by saints who are free from malice, nay, which is the best over of supreme bliss and uproots the threefold agony, the agony caused by bodily distemper, that which is attributable to natural agencies, and that inflicted by a fellow beings. While it is doubtful that God can be speedily captured, is once hurt by other means, he can be instantly seized through this walk by those blessed persons who have keen desire to hear it recited. The glorious Bhagavata is the ornament of the Puranas and the wealth of the Vaishnavas. In it stands celebrated the one supreme reality, which is all consciousness as well as all truth and all bliss, free from all impurity in the form of contact with Maya, and which is the goal of Paramahansas, ascetics of the highest order. Alone in this Purana, withdrawal from all activity coupled with spiritual enlightenment, dispassion and devotion has been expounded. A man devoutly listening to it carefully, reading it and given to pondering, it bids fair to get liberated. This nectar in the shape of the story of Srimad Bhagavata does not exist in paradise. In Satyaloka, the highest heaven, the realm of Brahma, the Creator, in Kailasha, the realm of Lord Shiva, and even in Vaikuntha, the realm of Lord Vishnu. Therefore, quote, if highly fortunate ones never or never cease taking it. Sutta went on while the glorious Shuka, the son of Vyasa, was speaking as aforesaid. Sri Hari appeared in the midst of the assembly, accompanied by Prahlada, Bali, Uddhava, Arjuna and others. Narada, the celestial sage, worshipped him, as well as the aforementioned devotees, beholding Sri Hari, who was now perched on a high seat, cheerful. They presently commenced chanting the divine names and praise before him. Lord Shiva, the source of the universe, accompanied by Goddess Ma Parvati, the divine suppose of Lord Shiva, and Lord Brahma, who remains seated on a lotus, arrived on the scene to witness the Kirtana. Prahlada held struck the wooden cymbals because of his agility, while Uddhava held the brass ones. Narada, the celestial seer, played upon his lute. Arjuna, who was a master of tunes, kept up the vocal melody. Indra, the lord of paradise, the ruler of the gods, sounded a wooden tom-tom. The aforesaid Kumaras, Sanaka and his three brothers, raised shouts of a glory in melodious voice at intervals. In the chorus, where Sri Shuka, the son of Vyasa, stood foremost, giving expression to different emotions by meaning of charming literary compositions. In the center of the assembly danced like actors that very trio of bhakti and others, the other two being Janana and Vairagya, who were full of great splendor. Sri Hari too was pleased to witness this transcendent Kirtana and presently spoke as follows: I feel highly gratified at this moment through the exposition of Srimad Bhagavata and the Kirtana. Ask a boon of your choice of me, who have been won by your devotion, greatly rejoiced to hear these words of the Lord. They submitted to Sri Hari as follows: their heart must stand with emotion. Our ambition is that in all future sacrificial sessions consisting of a 7 days exposition of Srimad Bhagavata, you must be present with all these devotees of yours. This should be scrupulously fulfilled by you. And saying, be it so, Sri Hari, the immortal Lord, disappeared. Thereupon Narada bowed in the direction of the feet of the Lord and his companions, as well as to Sri Shuka and other ascetics, all those who had drunk of the nectar in the shape of the exposition of Srimad Bhagavata, had their delusion dispelled and extremely delighted. Forthwith dispersed the celebrated Bhakti along with her two sons, Janana and Vairagya, was then installed by Sri Shuka in Srimad Bhagavata, the scripture associated with his name, as well. Hence, as a result of the Vaishnavas resorting to Srimad Bhagavata, Sri Hari actually occupies their heart. Srimad Bhagavata, they say, loudly proclaims its efficacy to deliver those tormented by the fever of agony caused by poverty, those trampled upon by the devilness of Maya, and those hurled into the ocean of transmigration. Sonaka submitted, when was Srimad Bhagavata expounded by Sri Shuka for the sake of the king Parikshit, when again was expounded by Gokarna, and when again by Sanaka and his 3 brothers, sons of Brahma, for the sake of Narada, the heavenly seer. Pray resolve this doubt of mine as a matter of fact. Sutta continued, Sri Shuka started his exposition of Srimad Bhagavata on the 9th of the bright 4th night of the month of Bhadrapada, roughly corresponding to August of the English calendar, after 30 years of the Kali age, commencing from the departure of Sri Krishna, for his divine realm had rolled away after Parikshit hearing of Srimad Bhagavata. When 200 more years of the Kali age had elapsed, Gokarna, who was born of a cow, commenced his exposition of Srimad Bhagavata on the 9th of the bright half of Ashada, roughly corresponding to June of the English calendar, when 30 more years of Kali Yuga had elapsed since. Then Brahma's son Sanaka and his 3 brothers commenced the exposition of Srimad Bhagavata on the 9th of the bright 4th night of Kartika, roughly corresponding to the month of October of the English calendar. I have thus told you as aforesaid what I was asked by you, O sinless Sonaka. The exposition of Srimad Bhagavata in the age of Kali puts an end to the disease of metempsychosis. Drink with reverence, O pure soul, this nectar-like story, which is so dear to Sri Krishna, and wipes out all sins, nay, which is the only means to the attainment of liberation in this world, and promotes bhakti. What will be gained as a matter of fact by associating with worthy men and visiting places of pilgrimage, beholding even his own servant going out on his errand of taking the life out of dying persons, noose in hand, Yama, the god of punishment, it is said, whispers close to his ears, Leave alone those who are entrapted over the Lord's stories. I am the ruler of other men, but not of the Vaishnavas. O man, whose mind is agitated through attachment to the poison-like pleasures of sense, drink the peerless nectar in the form of Srimad Bhagavata. The story narrated by Sri Shuka for your spiritual good, even for half a second in the unsubstantial word, why wonder for nothing? O friends, on the wrong path, resonant with vicious talk, Emperor Parikshit, stand as a witness to corroborate the statement found in our sacred books. The Mukti follows in the wake of Srimad Bhagavata, entering the very years he bids fair to attain lordship over Vaikuntha. By becoming one with the Lord of Vaikuntha, to whose voice gets joined the story narrated by Sri Shuka, immersed in a stream of ecstatic joy, in this way has been imparted by me to you just now a most historic truth, the very substance of all conclusions. After rank asking a pile of sacred books, there is nothing purer than Srimad Bhagavata, the story narrated by Sri Shuka. Therefore, go for the enjoyment of supreme bliss, the nectar embodied in the 12 skandhas of Srimad Bhagavata. He who hears an exposition of Srimad Bhagavata in a regular way with devotion, and he who expounds it before a pure-hearted votary of Lord Vishnu, both attain the true reward of hearing or expounding Srimad Bhagavata, because of their duly observing the procedure laid down for it. There is nothing which cannot be achieved by them. Thus ends the sixth discourse entitled The Procedure of Hearing and Exposition of Srimad Bhagavata detailed, forming part of the glory of Srimad Bhagavata, comprised in the Uttarkhanda of the glorious Padma Purana. Jai Shri Krishna. Ends of Srimad Bhagavata Mahatmya. Jai Shri Krishna.